Well, I am so excited to see the inside of this home. It is one of them that was on the holiday home tour along with me in the past couple of weeks. It's the home of Scott and Natalie Bryan. They have 2 children, 8 and 10, 2 boys. It's just a really family-centered house, and I cannot wait to see it, and I cannot wait for you to see it. Decked out for the holidays, but mostly just for easy, comfortable old house living. Let's go inside. And I'm already seeing some features that enamor me. The stenciling that they've got on the steps here, which kind of echo the etching in their gorgeous front door. And I love the fact that I can see soccer balls, so I'm gonna guess their kids play soccer. And I do know that they both attend Wilson School, which is just down the street from me. But let's go in and see what this home has to offer in terms of just an old home and its stories. Hi, Scott. Good to see you guys.
Hello.
Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
This is so nice. And look,
Our pleasure.
we're immediately greeted by this Christmas tree. How fun is that? It's just a wonderful way to welcome guests, I think. Now, first and foremost, would you like us to take off our shoes?
No.
Because that's
We
kind
have
of
an 8 and 10-year-old, no, but
You have an 8 and 10, and they're 2 boys, and that's about the same age difference as my boys, who are considerably older than that now. But this is so nice. So I love, by the way, I love the stenciling on the steps coming up and the etching on the door.
the stenciling was all Scott's idea, and the door etching was maybe original. I mean, it was predates us.
That is so cool. So you did the stenciling. Did you do it yourself?
I did.
That is so fun, and it looks to me like it kind of echoes or mimics what's in the etching on the door. Is that something that you tried to do?
I did not consciously think about that, honestly.
But it sounds good, and from now on, if anybody asks,
That's
you're
my
going to say,
story.
well, of course, that's your story, and
That's my new
you're
story.
sticking to it. So, do you know what kind of tree this is? Is it
It's a fir.
Is it a Fraser, do you know? Because it's a great shape. You know, a lot of times you don't see any that are quite this fat. And we got one of these. I got one of these too for being on the home
Yes.
tour.
Isn't it beautiful?
So I'm gonna guess.
It's kind of a collection of ornaments from the last 20 years. We spent some time in DC, so we have some DC ornaments and baby's first Christmas.
So how did you get to Oklahoma?
We're originally from here.
Okay.
So we kind of left and made our way back after the children came around.
Okay, and you went to DC for work, for family,
Yes,
for
for
work.
work.
Okay. Well, this is just wonderful, and I love the fact that all of these are mementos. It looks to me like you also maybe like Santa Fe.
We do. We were married in Santa Fe.
Were you? Well,
near and dear.
we are huge fans of Santa Fe. I think it is one of the special places on earth.
It
Yes.
is for a fact.
Yes, yes. So, well, fun and lots of sentimental
Yes.
mementos on your
Yes.
tree. And it looks like Santa has come a little bit early because you've already got a few gift wrap and under the tree.
We have a start.
Yes, you have a start. Okay, so now tell me about your house. When was it built?
It was built in 1920,
Okay.
and most all of the word work is original. We had to do things like replace all the electrical and the plumbing, but we really tried to leave what we
Let's
could
go ahead and walk in here.
alone.
Right?
And some of the things that attracted us to this house is the woodwork, the original stoves, you know, the
Oh,
bookcases.
I love these.
Yes, and it puts off so much heat in the winter time.
What was this working when you moved in?
We had it taken out and rebuilt, just for safety purposes.
Right.
Very smart.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it
And
did
it's,
not require too much repairs, so it.
well,
it
and the
worked
nice
very well.
thing is that our electric goes out pretty frequently because of our ice storms and just an aging grid, and it's great.
It is, it is. It's nice to have a gas option when
Mm-hmm.
you lose electricity.
Plus, it just is cozy.
It is, it's so cozy. We love, this is one of the favorite places. And like you said, it puts out so much heat.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's very functional.
Yes, yes.
So, do you know about the stone or the brick around the fireplace?
We do not. We're fairly confident it's original. We had to replace some of these tiles that have came loose over the years, but we've almost found all of them.
Wow. And oh my gosh, these bookcases.
Yes, the kids love to read, and so it's very functional. You always need a place for your books.
So,
nice, nice.
is this prairie style? Would we call this house a prairie style? I guess.
I believe we've seen some Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yes. Uh-huh.
We're
And
big
so we're
Frank Lloyd
familiar
Wright
with
fans.
that term, and yeah, prairie craftsman.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Probably has some features of both.
Well, and the wood in particular. What is this?
Oak.
It's oak, and fortunately, when you moved in, it wasn't painted over. You didn't have to
Thankfully,
strip.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to, restore it,
Right.
but
That's good.
not stripping of paint.
Oh yeah, because that is just miserable. I love this. I love the color of the stone and the brick, and it just feels so warm. And the other thing is fun is all the horizontal lines that
Yes.
are so reflective of that period and that prairie style and Frank Lloyd Wright and all of that. I love that.
And some of this design and the woodwork. was
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to point that out.
Yeah,
So
the
neat.
arrows or whatever. If you were going to make your own stationery or engrave your own or whatever, this would be a really cool motif to use.
It would.
It's a grand entrance to that room, kind of. It's really
Yeah,
neat.
it really is. But I love, before we go too far out of this room, Stuart, would you mind coming back and get a wide shot? Because the windows are fabulous and they are lead framed. Do you know anything about the windows?
We do not.
We didn't have to
We
restore
added
these.
the
Okay.
leaded windows on each side just as a.
Oh, so you did it. Oh,
touch.
and look, I see that they're suspended.
Yes.
Yes, what a wonderful
So
idea.
he added that. Otherwise, it was just, they had the exterior. We removed the storm windows from the porch.
Yeah, and I can see, is the wavy glass in the window itself or
No.
is the wavy glass in the panels that you've
I think it's the
hung?
I
panels.
believe it is the panels.
Oh my gosh, what a
Now-
difference those make.
That window was covered up, and we uncovered that. The piano window, as it's traditionally called.
Oh, wow.
It was painted over on and so we could see it from the exterior, and so we kind of uncovered it.
Sheetrocked over the inside.
Oh, how tragic.
I know, and
Okay, and do you know why it was called a piano window?
Because people used to put the pianos under that window, like the uprights.
Here, so when you first came in,
Yes.
that's where isn't that interesting? And I would think, yeah, and that's interesting to me because putting a piano there, it wouldn't be very protective from, blasts of cold and heat and everything. How interesting.
one other note on the fireplace design.
And I'm going to get closer to you, Scott, simply because
This is
you don't have a
called,
mic. Excuse me, you don't have a mic, so I'm going to be a little bit
Okay.
closer to you. I'm going to get really close to you because I don't want anybody to miss anything you're saying. So talk about those.
This is a Durand pattern we discovered in this fireplace. So we've tried to, keep that consistent with like the grates that we chose for the floors.
Wow!
Uh,
How did you know that was called Duran? Did you research it?
Just research, yes.
And that matches. Yeah, it's cool.
And then
And then where did you
also
find
with the,
where did you find the grates that matched?
Signature hardware. And we also were able to
How
get some
fun.
bookshelf holders that are in that same terrain pattern.
That, I love that.
So we tried to just carry some of the cool things we found about the house into
Well, I like that
some
fan.
of our selections.
Wow. I love how
Let me squeeze around you.
how beautifully eclectic it is. I mean, you've really managed to kind of maintain the historical integrity of the house, and yet you've infused it with a practical lifestyle and, you know, modern conveniences and things. What a comfortable room in there.
That was
That's
exactly
just,
the goal. Yeah.
well, you have done just a fabulous, fabulous job. Tell me about this piece of mirror.
That mirror was found in the basement, and it had already started to antique somewhat, and so we did help that along
What
a
a
little bit.
treasure.
And,
It wasn't, we took it a little bit more antique than what it was.
It looks really good.
So it was a bit of a process. It wasn't, you know, that aged.
How do you age it?
You actually remove some of the paint off of the backside, and then with a vinegar water solution, you can give it the spotting. And then
Can you do that to any mirror?
yes.
Yes.
Lee and I are going, whoa, who knew? Okay, what a great design tip. And then it was your idea, I guess, to come up with these brackets and put a shelf above it.
So
Oh, look at the brackets match too.
it was
yeah.
supposed to be a bar shelf, only the first one was a little bit too many bar glasses and it crashed with all of the bar glasses.
Oh no, how tragic.
Turns out that's probably a bit too far of a span.
Without a middle, without
Glass,
yeah.
but the glass was also in the house when we were here, so we tried to reuse some of the things that we found left over in the house.
Well, if you don't try, you don't know. Well, this is wonderful. And the fan?
It was a
fan is
gift.
cool.
My mother found that on a trip to Kansas City and she thought it fit, and so it just works perfectly. We love it.
And it was working when you got it?
She bought it at a
the
shop.
fan part of it no longer works, but it's just a light fixture now.
It's a really neat light fixture.
And the shape of the mirror, the shape of the console, the sideboard, the shape of even the candles that you have on there is that long, low rectilinear profile, which is also echoed in your
Yes.
light fixture.
Yes.
So did you have help with your interior design? Did you do it yourself?
We did it mostly ourselves with, and partly the light fixtures were chosen in desperation because the electrician was coming and they said,
I know about
you
that.
gotta do that. So
Yeah, I know about that.
probably in the span of 3 hours, we selected every light fixture in this house.
Because I wanted the lights on and I wanted to move out of the little house.
So, little house.
The casita, we lived there.
Oh, you've got a
Wow.
casita, which let's explain what a casita is.
It's the garage. It was the garage, and the previous owners renovated it because the couple was aging and they could no longer do the stairs. So it's handicap accessible, and so they renovated that house so they could stay in the home. Their daughter actually lives just a few doors down.
Yeah, and that's becoming in this neighborhood kind of a thing that's very particular to this area. A lot of people have apartments above their garage. They have secondary housing, if you will, behind the quarters. Now, and when I lived in Crown Heights, they were always called, they were where the servants' quarters were. But here it seems like it's more of a family member kind of thing, or an
Yes.
aging in place, or it's very popular, I think, for young kids as they get older then maybe to move out, and it's kind of
Yes.
like a halfway house
Yes.
where you're home but you're not home.
Yes.
And I think it's a wonderful multi-generational feature of the homes in this neighborhood.
It is. My sister actually lives there now. Well, she rents it, but she travels a lot around the world, so she's not here very often.
Yeah, eminently
out.
practical. Yes. Yeah. Good deal. Okay, look at this fabulous corner cabinet.
Yes, we took the walls down and left that in place while taking the walls down.
Oh, okay. Take it. Tell me
So-
about that.
Well, many of the plaster walls, there was knob and tube wiring behind there, which was the electrical design of the day. Not considered practically safe in
Yeah.
this day and age. So to get to add the new electrical, we had to take down a lot of the plaster walls, which
But we tried to keep as many as we could.
Right.
So you would take down one side so you could do the electrical and then keep the other side.
Yeah.
But like the corner cabinet, we loved it so much, we had to be careful to do the drywall while it was in place.
Well, it was
And the
more
same
saving.
with this door. We never took this door off because we didn't think we
Wow.
would ever get it back
Well,
on.
it was very, very much worth saving. And I love, like,
I love the glass.
I just love the way your furnishings are perfect for your home. Like, this looks like a church bench. I don't know.
It was just because we have small children and it works really well to have a
Yeah.
bench.
Well, then it works for everybody, doesn't it? And this piece here,
Looks so cool.
That was a gift from our friends. I don't know where they originally got it. They were moving out of the city and we thought it would fit perfectly there. So
it does, and it perfectly matches the woodwork.
it does. It was by accident, but happy accident.
Yeah, and yes,
from the spiral staircase
That's-
in Santa Fe,
yes.
miraculous staircase.
Which is where we were married, so that's kind of the
Oh, that's neat.
link.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break because before we progress too much further to the kitchen and things, I want to take a look at what is at the top, the landing of your stairwell. But let's take a little break.
Okay.
Okay, so upon entering, we just went to the left and we saw that part of your home. By the way, how many square feet? Do you know?
2,400 in the main
2,400.
house.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good manageable size, I
It
think.
is.
It's not too big and not too small, but it's kind of spacious for
Yes.
these older homes,
It is.
I think.
Compared to what we saw.
Yeah, and the other thing is the scale of this room even to me looks larger
It
than,
does.
and I love the way, because of the placement of your furniture, you've partitioned this out so it very much reads as another room,
Mm-hmm.
and as if walking immediately into the living room, it still feels like it's a separate room. So well played. So when we walk in, we see this incredible piece of art. Now, tell me the story on this.
We were in Bentonville, Arkansas several months ago. We were going through an art museum there, and we saw this painting. Well, the
Something
original
similar,
of this
yeah.
painting. And I took a picture of it, took a picture of the sign. The name of the painting is Cerulean for the color. And it was painted by a Cuban artist, and she passed away in 2022. But we took that idea and I gave it to my daughter-in-law, and she was able to recreate this painting.
Wow.
And got it done just in time for the home tour.
For the home tour? Well,
and
and
we got a lot of comments on it.
And you obviously measured it and knew that it would fit brilliantly there. Were you just
loved-
waiting to find the right piece for that
We
Yes.
kind of were, yes.
prominent spot?
So when he found the canvas, then he gave it to her and he said, "I think you can do this." And she's not an artist by trade, so it was her first.
So what spoke to you about the painting?
You
What
know, just
attracted you to it?
Just the lines, the perspective it gave you. You could interpret it many different ways. We both worked for the Air Force, so you can kind of picture 4 jets maybe converging down. But it's just, I just love the way, the way it's drawn. It just jumps out of the 2-dimensional space.
I like that it's a square within a square.
3-dimensional.
Yes. Yeah, when you really, it's one of those things that looks very simple when you first look at it, but when you really begin to deconstruct it, and particularly when you say the story behind it, that you both worked for the Air Force. Are you both still active?
No, we're not active duty. We are civilians. He was.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why you were in D.C.
Correct.
Yes.
I love this placement. How the lines
Yeah.
over there just match with the
Yeah,
wall.
yeah. The way
That
it
is
just.
so amazing.
Yeah. Every placement of things that you put just echoes an existing feature, which makes it that much more like it's custom made.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love the story behind it. So then, what are these called? What are these areas called?
Well, they call them saddleback stairs, because I guess you can go either side.
The saddleback stairs. Okay.
Yes. And so when we were quickly picking out light fixtures, that reminded us of a chess board, and the boys love to play chess. So so the light fixture in our mind looks like a chessboard, and it's really a great space. And the table just worked out perfectly. We found that a friend of ours had a little shop, and this was one of their personal pieces, and it just
Wow.
worked out beautifully.
And these stools. Whoa, where did these come from?
Just from K&N.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, in the basement.
Thrifting.
Thrifting,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
most definitely.
Yes, that is a secondhand store close to us.
Consignment, yes.
Consignment store, yes. And I love the fact that all too often these kind of spaces kind of go unused and wasted.
Right.
Even if you put a settee here or something, I mean,
Right.
who really is going to go up there to read? But the fact that you come up here to play games, or you could write, or you could read, I mean, it's really a functional space. Very, very cozy. And then it also has a dramatic view,
It does.
looking, and not only to the living room, but really onto your porch, which for these old houses is as much living space as
Yes.
the interior of the house itself.
Yes.
Because that's what these homes were built around. It was porch living, porch life. You can talk to your neighbor without getting out of your rocking chair on the front
Yes.
porch.
I don't know
And
if you noticed it when you were walking in, but all the porches line up perfectly
Yes.
as you look.
Yes.
On this
down
street,
both
they all line
ways,
up.
So you can see everybody's porch and who's sitting out there.
yeah, well, the interesting thing is a lot of people that live in suburban areas, ranch-style homes or wherever, where there's not that kind of communication architecturally, one house with another. Sometimes I think people find it odd, and yet for those of us that love old houses, it's one of the things that draws us to these old houses.
Exactly.
And it also catches a breeze.
Yes.
In the hot Oklahoma summers, and so it's very environmentally
Right.
appropriate. It's a great vernacular for where we live, but it also makes you feel so much closer to your neighbors.
It's surprising how much time we spend out there. It's one of our favorite spaces. Is
Yeah.
the porch.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
all seasons.
Yeah. Well, they're very convivial. They're very convivial. Okay, so now the other side, this is fun. The other side, after you've played your game of chess, one brother whips the other brother. I'm not going to say which one whips whom, but if they have worn you out, you can come down into the kitchen for a snack. What a great place that would be to do homework too.
It would. They don't do a lot of homework, but
Okay, this is really nice. Now, did you have to redo the kitchen when you moved in?
we did. Scott, this was all linoleum, and a lot of people would come in, and we were looking with different designers or and everybody wanted to tile. Like, he just kept tearing up the linoleum, and each day he'd scrape a little bit, each day he'd scrape a little bit more, and then he found the floors, and a lot of people would come in and say, "Oh, you have to tile. You just have to tile it," and we said no, and he called Andy. You know Andy.
Oh yes, oh yes.
And Andy said, "No, we can redo these."
So this floor was here.
It was hidden away.
Under the linoleum.
It was.
And this part is maple, and that transitions to oak.
Oh, wow.
And there used to be a wall here, so we don't know if this was some like back porch or what, but yeah, so it transitions from maple to oak in this side, and
It wasn't
out
like
very
a utility room or
Well, no,
a
that
laundry
was
room?
actually, you'll be able to see it on the other side, but that was actually a doorway into, and that wasn't a laundry room. We turned it into a laundry room, but it was an awkward room, I'll say. It
Okay.
had a little bath, and it had like a living space, a very small living space with a dresser. But anyway, we gave up the doorway into that area for the built-in cabinets that we needed to function, because he loves to cook, and there's a lot of cooking utensils.
So that isn't just paneling, those are
No.
actual cabinets. You did a lot of this work yourself.
Well, from here over was a piece that I found on Facebook Marketplace, and somebody had contracted for this pantry to be built and didn't follow through with the
Oh, wow.
purchase.
It may not be the neatest, but we can show
Wow.
the inside. It's
And
not.
our,
It's
Oh
for
my
the snacks for the
gosh!
kids.
had all the drawers.
All the
and-
kids know where their snacks are. And then cabinetry, very messy, but
And it's just an easy pick and place, and you're
Yes.
right over here, so you're still not traveling a lot. It very much kind of fits that triangle
love the nook.
of cooking. I do too, and I love how kind of open this is, which is good for rambunctious boys. And I love this vignette here of this aloe in this great container.
So glad that this thing seems to bloom red right around Christmas.
The holidays. Thank you for your service. Yes, thank you for your service. Okay, so cool advent calendar. Tell me about how you decided on the color and the countertops. How did you decide on your materials?
We saw a lot of white kitchens when we were, researching what we would like our kitchen to look like,
Right.
and white or gray. And we wanted something that had a little bit more color. We found some inspiration pictures of green cabinetry, and we just love that idea. So
So
Went
you
with
went
it.
with green. I had green cabinets in my former home, and it's also forgiving with kids
Yes.
because it just doesn't show a lot of fingerprints and things like that. I love the size, and I love the navigability
that was.
of this. It really works.
We had an older home before, and with the galley kitchen, and it was hard to navigate, and so that was a key. The kitchen took us some time to think about because we needed functionality.
Did you live here while the work was being done?
Initially, the first couple months, no, we were naive about how long it would take.
That's how it goes.
Oh, isn't that part of the tradition of renovating an old home?
And then there were some renters that the previous owners asked us to keep in the back house for a little bit till they found a place. So when they vacated, we came over here because the kids were starting a new school, and it's easier to integrate if you can be around your friends.
Sure.
But we stayed with family. We have our parents live in the area, so we ended up in there from August to February. It was quite some time for 4 people.
Oh,
in
that's-
500 square feet.
Yeah.
500 square foot house in the back.
Yeah, it was a.
Oh, well, yeah.
Interesting.
You got really close.
You did, and that was coming off of COVID, and so there was.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now
It
that's
was-
where I first caught COVID.
Yeah, right.
When my son
Oh,
was
good memories of your time in the 500 square foot casita. So I have to ask, this has 3 stools. Who stands while they eat?
I do.
The cook.
I'm usually
cook.
the one cooking, so we bring the food over there and I stand.
We gotta find one more. We just found 3, and a lot of times if we'll sit at the dining room table.
Yeah,
But the boys will just quickly eat we call
Yeah.
it first breakfast.
Well, and
Here.
yes, I understand that. And they're at prime, probably sports age. I saw the soccer
They
balls
are, yes.
out front, so they probably.
That yard is a favorite yard for the neighborhood boys to play football, soccer.
And don't
whatever.
you love that about this area is how many playmates your kids have, that their friends are literally just live doors away from them, and they bike to school together.
They
I
do.
see them.
They do. They were featured in the curbside.
Yes.
It's probably awesome for them.
And how do they like living in the neighborhood?
Oh, they love it.
So they're pretty big fans.
Yeah, because it gives them a lot of independence, right? Previously, when we lived in Texas, you had to schedule the play dates. You had to do the drop off with the car line, and changing away from all of that was very appealing.
Yeah, they can walk to the park, they can bike to school, they can, I mean, everything is right here. I've said it a million times. My followers are going to get tired of hearing it, but it's like living in a Norman Rockwell painting.
It is.
And it really is.
It is. It is. With some real life too. I mean, you have a lot of diversity at their school, so it's nice.
Yes.
That it's not all just the same kind.
Homogenous
Homogeneous is the word I'm looking for.
Student population. Yeah, it's pretty wonderful, but it's also a wonderful public school.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to try doing some volunteering there, maybe some gardening activities.
Oh yes,
in the coming year.
That's a big draw. The fact that we have our community garden.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Well,
the kids eat vegetables that they grow.
Yeah.
So important.
Well, and not only that, it's just the fact that the parents are also involved. Even people like me who aren't parents.
Yes.
Get recruited.
And we welcome that.
Get recruited
And we need
for the
that.
neighborhood. Well, let's take a break here and walk to another part of the house.
Okay.
Well, of course, being a gardener, I have to know about the garden. And you said this is very much a work in progress. So you've killed out your grass, like I did in my front yard. I love this vista right here too, your little chimenea and the seating area that you have. And then the casita has obviously been redone.
It has.
Very functional living. We envision kind of a wall of hydrangeas in the back there.
Yeah.
And in the foreground, flowers and shrubs.
I
gonna look
love
great.
the backdrop of the brick. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I
and the
love
trees,
that.
like the natural
I love
borders.
that so much. So you've got enough space back here to do some raised beds if you want to grow some vegetables or whatever, but in the front and in the park your kids have more than enough place to play, and it's manageable.
That was the decision. They had kind of outgrew this small space, and so it's a good place to.
We redid the driveway.
I think the first time I met you, I was quizzing you about some panicle hydrangeas in your front yard. And,
Yeah, lots of people were coming by, and I need a cheat sheet or something of the names of all the people that I've met since I moved in. I'm great at recognizing faces, but names.
We didn't know you were so famous.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You were telling me about a flower called a cleome.
Cleome, yes. Well, I tell you what, when it gets time for you to do the hydrangeas back there, I would highly recommend some white wedding hydrangeas or moon dance. They're from Southern, I work with Southern Living Plant Collection, and I would highly recommend that. So if you want any counsel on what to plant back there, I will happily share what little I know. But this is so charming,
It's
and
great
the brick
morning
and
sun,
everything.
and then it's kind of shaded in the afternoons. We thought that would be.
I feel between the kitchen and this area, it feels very Brooklyn to me.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it just feels very Brooklyn to me. It's just charming. It's absolutely charming. Yeah, Leah loves it for that reason. Hello, Natalie. So this is where the laundry gets done.
Yes.
And in these old houses, we're always having to carve out places, it seems like, to do our laundry because it's different than it would have been back in the olden days.
Right. It was in the basement when we got here.
Yeah.
And this was an extra room, and at first we didn't want the laundry room right on the main floor, but it was the perfect spot, and then you're constantly carrying it up the stairs, so 2 sets of stairs is not ideal.
Well, I also think it affects your mental attitude, because being down in a dingy, dark basement when you're having to do something that a lot of us find an onerous kind of chore, it's fun to bring it upstairs, and then you've made this just a light and bright and lively place with blue wallpaper, and the woodwork in here is white, and I like the fact that, so this, on the other side of this would be the walls where you had the cabinetry.
Correct.
The green
correct.
cabinetry.
So that inset there was the doorway, and we converted it into more of a space for the children, and the lower cabinet is their crafting cabinet.
Now they can see what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they can see where it came from. So, okay, and this is just brilliant. So you've taken what was a door, and really, if you didn't tell me it was a door, I wouldn't have realized it. It would have looked like it was very intentional to begin with. You've got a drying rack here.
Yes.
And this is pretty spacious. It's also kind of a mud room, so there's a place here
Right.
I see for tennis shoes. And then you were saying that you love the fact that you got a stackable, because then you could have a sink here, which is wonderful to have a sink.
My husband didn't understand why we needed a sink in the laundry room. And I guess it's because he doesn't do much
Because he
laundry.
doesn't wash the delicates. He doesn't. Yeah, I wish you could have seen the look that Scott just gave us. So, okay, so now we know who does the delicates in your house and who doesn't. But it's so bright in here, and you have a sink. So did you guys...
Oh, look at this drop, the sunk in.
yeah,
So Scott
this
did
is wonderful.
that himself. He made
cool.
the top of it, right, Scott?
And the okay, so the
We found the sink. I almost wanted it for my kitchen because it's so
Yeah.
functional.
it
That's
is.
exactly what I said, how functional.
I
It's so
know.
sink,
It's
crazy.
wonderful. Did you tile the backsplash?
Well, it's the stick-on top.
It's stick-on, so,
So
it's a little
yes.
bit, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Serious? Yeah, okay. You just have to say, well, yeah, I did. Well, yeah, I did. Okay, did you do the tile in the bathroom?
No.
We had
I
that,
love this tile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
happy
cool
tile.
Yeah, that's like, I
Yeah,
wish I had that.
it's happy
The
tile. Be
bathrooms
careful,
are
or you're gonna
professional.
expose yourself, Stuart, with that mirror there. Stuart does not, and this is okay. I'm gonna answer what so many people
Stuart.
ask. Stuart does not want to be on camera. He has never, over the years we've done this, he has never wanted to be on camera, and all our followers keep asking, why
started as
doesn't
just-
Stuart reveal himself? Because he doesn't want to, people.
A general idea, but over the years it's turned into an absolute preference.
Yeah, so he's like in Home Improvement, that guy that
Yes.
you know looks over the fence. But I love the brass fixtures in here.
Yes, I like the idea of a cabinet. The plumber didn't love it initially when we asked him to install
wallpaper's
without
great, too.
something.
Yeah.
The wallpaper, well, good thing my girlfriend stepped in to help finish that off. Otherwise, we may
That's
not
like
be
the
here
red.
together.
Yeah, well, okay, but see, that's the brilliance. You and I were talking about this. You were saying, oh, why did we say we'd be on the home tour? Oh, why did we tell Linda that she could come shoot our house? Well, it's because you
That
get
feeling.
stuff done. And after you do it, you're so glad you did it, because now you have this beautiful home all done for the holidays.
That's right. It's perfect.
See?
Perfect
Yes.
timing.
It wasn't
Yes.
a forcing function.
Yes.
You can't-
Okay, let's take a quick tour of the upstairs, and then we're going to leave you guys to
Yes.
celebrate the holidays without being on camera.
That'll be great. And the family comes by, so they love to see
Wow, Leah is swooning. Leah is swooning. Are you already filming, Stuart? Oh, good. Because Leah is swooning, and as I am swooning at this bedding, this is just, is this the master? I
It is.
guess.
So
this
this-
is wonderful.
This was a big
Really cool.
debate about giving up a bedroom for a master suite,
Right.
you know, to have a bath. We wanted to initially do it
Wow.
out here in the sleeping porch, but we needed room for a tub. If we're going to do this, we needed my
Oh,
clawfoot
and
tub.
I love the fact that you've got a little place over here for your exercise bike. I had to
Yes.
put mine in the guest bedroom. I am very
complains
jealous,
about it
and I do complain about it constantly. This is so nice, and of course I love
The rug is cool.
I love the motif, and I love the blue, and I love the exposed brick. How many times have I said love? But what a comfortable room, just filled with personality.
It is, well, the rug was some Santa Fe purchase, one of our trips. Originally from, it's a, the Turkish rug,
Yeah.
thank you. I just went blank. We took one trip to Turkey, so it was kind of
Yes, yeah.
sentimental.
These
Right.
were 3 other windows that were sheetrocked over, and this was a closet at one time. So when we knocked down the sheetrock,
There was a
these
window
windows
behind
were-
the sheetrock.
Oh,
Yes,
my
well, see, this
gosh.
one you can see is still painted because we can't reach it to get the paint off the outside of that one because the awning from
Holy smokes.
the porch.
Wow.
So we can't get that one
even
unpainted.
What
complete
is-
with BB holes here and some.
Well, see, it's just like that.
We did find the guy
Christmas
that
Story.
could have been
Yes.
responsible.
Yes. Was it a Red Ryder BB gun?
Somebody said that they got paid like 50 cents a pigeon.
Oh, those shoot pigeons.
And so
What a great
Some
story.
ricochet or something,
they
right?
kind
Yeah.
of owed up to maybe they
You know
were
what's
responsible.
funny is that the things that we unearth in these old houses are the things we like best
Yes.
about the old house, and yet the interim owners wanted to cover those things up
Right.
for whatever reason. So
cycle
part
of life.
part of the treasure hunt of living in these old houses is just exposing these kinds of things that you didn't know were there originally, and then they become
Right.
part of the lore. Like I would
Yes,
never take
yes.
that BB gun hole out, because what a great story.
I know.
It's
Well, and there's a
just-
nice view. Well, you may not see it with the shade pole.
You can actually see the Devon Tower and the downtown.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's
yes,
great views
yes,
from
here. Now, but-
yes, and I just
Linda's got a
love
good
the
view from her house
yeah,
as well.
I
with
love the
Devon Tower.
I love the exposed brick. So this was part of taking out another bedroom.
So we had to give up a whole bedroom to make this master bath.
That door is
But I said, if we're going to do this, we need a clawfoot tub, and it wouldn't fit anywhere else. So we had to give up a room. But it made for a nice master bath and closet with a walk-in.
It's like opposite the tile.
Yeah, it's the
downstairs.
opposite of the tile downstairs.
It is.
It's so cool.
Very, very clever.
It has
That
such a
entryway
feel.
made a kind of a cool
Design.
shape for the
Because this was
shower.
the original entry in the shower, was the original entry to the door.
No, okay, now what?
See that wall right
Oh,
there?
that was. I
That was
gotcha.
the entrance
Okay.
from the hallway to the room. And then that was the original closet, which made for a nice water closet.
You have to have really good spatial relation skills to think through, which I do not have, but to think through options and what you can do with these houses.
It took a lot of time because everybody wanted to make the master suite the one with the fireplace.
And who's bathing with the elf?
Yes, that little elf. We're still in elf.
Elf mode?
We're
I
still in
like
elf
that.
mode.
I think it's very sweet.
Yes, so he moves regularly. He needs to find new houses, new spaces around the house.
You
He's always
probably
watching.
appreciate our neighbor's tree. You see those red berries on those trees?
Oh, yes.
Which is just
What kind of
fantastic.
holly is
I
that?
have no idea.
It's magnificent, and I would love to cut some of them. Oh, and I love the awning, the black and white
I do
awning
too.
over there. Isn't that a great view? And this must be, is this a magnolia over here?
It is.
And look at all those buds on it already. That is scary.
It is.
Well, if I gasped at the bedroom, Stuart and Leah gasped at this bathroom.
It's those glass panels, man.
It's-
Look at it.
it is so cool.
It was
Oh, you see
intentionally.
the sink till now. That's good.
Yeah, oh, you didn't see that? Yeah, the sink is just unbelievable. Where'd you find it?
It was also another signature hardware.
Really?
Nope. Well, no, I take that back. That was a Kohler.
And what do you call these block windows?
Glass block.
glass
Glass block is what you call it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, just glass block. And I love the fact that the shower is open
And dual sided.
and dual sided, and maybe you could even get a wheelchair in there if you had to.
You-
I mean,
Yes,
course,
it's
you're
more
upstairs,
to
but-
It was more
not
of a-
fight about
yeah.
who's showering first.
oh, I love
Solve the
that.
problem.
That
That's
is
good.
absolutely brilliant. That is brilliant. Spoken like a true mom.
Definitely.
Yes.
Being art aficionados.
Oh, I love it. I didn't see that either.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Superheroes gotta go.
Yes.
That is brilliant. Okay, this room reminds me of, have you ever stayed at the La Posada in Santa Fe? You know, some of the spaces they have off of the main area,
Yes.
it reminds me of some of those side rooms there, because look at this fireplace. It's wonderful. And this, you say, is your room that is just a work in progress. Whose office is it going to be?
Primarily, it's my office, and I
Okay.
mean it is very functioning because this is a desk that my father built when we were moved into COVID suddenly, and we were living in Texas, and we wanted a raise, so he built the top of it,
Okay.
and we just bought so I can have a stand-up desk.
Legs, yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
waiting to decorate. And then there's this little
This is the children's
Side.
nook, if you
Oh,
will.
wow.
And there's a lot of gaming that goes on here. It's a little bit cleaner than normal.
Well, seriously, I appreciate it because I know how it is to keep things tidy when you've got big boys or little boys
Yes,
for
yes.
these kind of tours.
Yes,
Oh,
and
but
it's a
this
nice
is-
access point to put the lights on the house. It's very easy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and look out the window. Isn't it a fun view? Just your views are really great.
It's great to have the office here. I really enjoy working when I'm able to work
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah.
And kind of face out on the street.
Well, it's actually pretty to look out and see.
Yeah, and
Right.
before the leaves have turned brown, I'm sure this is
Oh,
spectacular.
it is.
The
That's the
color in
color.
the fall, the neighborhood in the fall is just
It
pretty
is.
unbelievable.
It is. It reminds me of the East Coast, but you don't find a lot of that in Oklahoma, but it's the closest
You can get to it here, yeah, because this whole area was, I guess, started in 1900s to the 1930s and beyond, and then we'll end up here in. Wow, these bedrooms are huge.
It's a lot like my old bunk bed.
They
Except
are.
for it's bigger. Look at the size of those beds on there. Jeez.
Okay, so is there argument over who sleeps on top, who sleeps on bottom, and where is the more prized position?
It was age related
It
when I was
flipped,
younger.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, it flip flopped. They've settled into it. The older one on the top and the younger one on the bottom. But every so often there will be a debate, and we will make them change.
I
for
just wish I
temporary-
would have had a double-sized mattress.
Well, that was the biggest deal.
Wow,
So cool.
That's
It's so cool that they
nice.
have double-sized bunk beds because it really
Yeah.
opens up
You
the
don't
space.
see that anywhere, yeah.
Yes.
So here's another question of the day. Did I already have one question of the day?
Possibly, maybe.
Okay, well here's another one, and we'll end up on this note because I really want your input. I think it's so, Scott, you weigh in on this too. My boys growing up, even though we had a third bedroom and they could have each had their own bedroom, I really wanted them to share a room.
Yes.
I thought it was so important. And for a while we had bunk beds, and I just thought it was just so important for them to share that experience of, did you
That's-
share rooms? Do you have siblings? Did you share rooms with
I
your
do.
siblings?
Yes.
And I did with my brother as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had two sisters, and at one point there were all three of us, all three of the girls in one room.
Yeah.
So it was very intentional. In our previous home, we made them share a room and had a guest room, because again, same philosophy. They just needed to share.
Yeah,
And
I think they
still
need
think
to share.
they do.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's important. I think it's a good bonding thing. I think it's a good way for them to create memories. And when Santa comes to town, then you're not going back and forth to both rooms, telling them to settle down. You can tell them both at the same time. Santa's not going to come. Exactly. If you don't calm down. And I'll tell you a little hint. They may or may not still be of Santa believing age.
Yes.
But when it's really dark outside and they won't settle down and go to sleep, then when a car backs out with its red taillights and you see the red light, you say, "Oh my gosh, there's Rudolph! You better calm down and get to sleep." And because it worked for me for years, 4 years. I cannot thank you enough. This was so much fun, Scott. You get a hug too.
Thank you.
This was so much fun. I so
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I love learning about your family. I love learning about your beautiful home, and I just love learning more about my neighborhood every day. Thank you guys for joining us on this tour, and Merry Christmas to us all.
Yeah, thank you
Merry
guys.
Christmas.